So one of the greatest things about One Step is our special sauce medium. What the medium does is allow you to mix both with the One Step colors. Like I've mentioned before, you can use it to thin them, but it's not required. The only reason I would really use the special sauce to thin One Step is to keep the viscosity of One Step as it is out of the bottle, and to not dilute the resins, right? You mix with mediums when you want to make sure you keep the resins tight. If you use water, it begins to be more runny. So the medium can keep that from happening if it's more controllable for you. Great for that, but not necessary. The real power of the special sauce medium is when we start mixing it with our normal line of colors. So I'm going to take some dark golden brown, mix it with the One Step medium to do the skulls on him, right? And then we'll take some black brown and mix it to do the staff as a base for the brown on the staff. So really, really simple. This is what I call a very inexpensive mixture, in that you really only have to use about 2 or 3 to 1 medium to paint. So you're not having to use an overabundance of the medium in order to get the job done, which is very nice, right? So I'm going to put a couple drops. We're going to put 4 drops of paint of the dark golden brown. And then I'm going to go in with the medium, shake it well, as you do with all mediums or varnishes. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to show you like this. That's 4 drops of paint. I'm going to go ahead and turn the cup around, and I'm going to load in about double that amount of material. Okay? My very scientific mixing method, of course. And then we're going to let that flow back over. You can see that the One Step, the medium, and the paints are very much more runny than the normal paints. We're going to mix that up. No need to add any water, nothing. This will give you just a pure One Step style color out of any of the colors in your normal lineup, which just increased the power of your normal paints exponentially, which is what's so great. And then same thing as before. We're just going to take a slightly damp brush, put it in the color, and then just like before, apply it the same exact way. Nothing changes when you mix it with the normal colors at all. You've just now magically turned your entire line of paints into One Step colors. So your favorite color, don't worry if we don't make it in One Step. You've already got it. Use it with the medium. This will give us a really nice kind of dirty bone foundation for these skulls. Move the paint around as I see fit if I don't like the way the color is. I'm going to go ahead and do this little jar thing too. Again, I can dry my brush off, and I can take away the excess that might be sitting inside these eye sockets, which are great little cups for collecting too much paint. Just kind of dip it in there. Use the paint that I get from dipping in there to hit any areas where I might have missed. Boom. Works great. Now we're going to do the same thing with the black brown to give us a nice base color for the staff. Same mix. You can play around with this. The more of the medium you add, the thinner the color will be. So if you want just a very light variation of the color, feel free to add more medium. I basically have gotten to the point to where I'm just doing it by eye. Pop it in there again so I can give you a sense of how much we're adding. Right, about 2 or 3 to 1 versus the amount of paint that you put in. Remember, kids, always mix your paint with the butt end of the brush, not the useful end. Same thing, slightly damp brush, and we do it all over again. Any color in your arsenal. Bright colors, dark colors, they'll all work great. It's really just a choice of how you want the model to look. If you're applying something with a shade base, or if you want to go a little bit brighter so that it gives you more of a vibrant highlight mid-tone. I'm going to get all of the cloth bits here too so I can show you how it goes over those textures. Also sets us up for some fun usage later on. Again, if I want a little bit more pigment in this area, you got a little light, just go back and brush it right over it. Done deal. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put it over this arm wrap and show you how even bleeding out, since I'm using browns, this is a very opportune moment to show that even though I bled a little bit over with the skin tone, it's not going to matter. I'm just going to put this color right over the top of that and get rid of the oops very quickly. I call it planning your colors, not making mistakes. But you'll get the same action out of the mixed colors from the normal line that you will out of the standard one step in a bottle, which is great. Oh, even there where I rubbed it off, I hit a wet spot with my finger. Just come back real quick, clean that right up. Work time is long enough that I don't have any fear to go back and address areas that maybe as they start to cure look a little bit light. Go back and add a little bit more color across there as I want. Perfect. Not only can you mix with the what we would call the normal line, but you can also mix with the more specialist paints like our transparent line and our metallics with the one-step medium. So I'm going to show you a little bit of an advanced technique with taking the transparents and using the one-step medium to turn them into a very light filter so that we can add some shadow color into this orangey red sash that we've done. I want a little bit of a purple shadow on it rather than going in and painting each one of those folds individually. Let's show you the power of one step to help you do that in a very quick single application method. So just like the regular paints, we just want to take the transparent, and I'm only going to put, probably only going to put about 2 or 3 drops. I don't need a lot of color here because I want this to be very, very thin. I'm not trying to turn the sash purple. I'm trying to give a purple shadow to it. So basically like creating my own wash tone, but that doesn't just go in the recesses. It will alter the color of the sash a bit, but not tremendously. So here I'm going to be more aggressive, and I'm probably going to go 5 or 6 to 1 with the medium so that I get less color out of the transparent, but I still maintain all of that capability that the one step adds. And as you'll see, it is less opaque than all the one step you've seen us use so far because number 1, I started with a more transparent paint, and number 2, I added more medium. So the medium thins it out on its own. The paint started with a little bit more translucence than the normal opaque colors do. So I'm using double the strength of one step to get where I'm looking to go. Now I'm going to take that, and we're just going to bring that down on top of here like so. So now I can get some really, really cool interactions with my shadows while having it blend into my base color and not take it over entirely. I still have my nice orange yellow. I put it over the top of everything, so I use the same simple application technique, but now I'm going to get that really nice purple shadow baked in there without having to do hardly any thinking at all. The bulk of my work was done thinning the paint, and it was just put a lot of medium in it. It was that simple. Get another brush load. Do the upper part of the sash the same way. You'll notice that because we've thinned it so much, most of the pigmentation is just going to sit into the recesses. Just keep dragging that along the surfaces here. It's going to alter our orangey red just a little bit, but keep that vibrancy that we had and really just pay a good amount of attention in the shadows, which is what we were looking for. So this will allow you to get a more advanced look without really having to paint in a more advanced way. Like I said, the real only thing is the learning to thin the paint and get it to the point that you like it. And on that stance, I always say over thinning is better than under thinning, because if you over thin, you can always add another layer, as opposed to not thinning enough, at which point it may have turned this whole thing, completely purple. So a little bit more of an advanced technique because it's going to ask you to play around with the color in the thinning stage more, but it's going to give you fantastic results for very little effort at the end of the day. If I want more in these folds, again, layer a little bit more in there. Boom. Okay, so we've talked about the transparents, and we also said metallics. Yes, you can mix it with metallics. So I want to do the bangles and the head of the staff and his bracelets in a gold. So I'm going to take our standard Pro Acryl Rich Gold, and we're going to put about that much. Again, you can be as aggressive as you need to. Mix as much. I try to save paint as much as possible and not overdo it. And again, with a medium for the metallics, because metallics have the actual flake inclusion in them, which makes them a little bit more opaque, we're going to want to be a little heavier with the medium. I would say probably 3 or 4 to 1. So again, if you're looking just spatially, I'm going to go in and do about like that. Okay. And this is only because you're having to thin more aggressively with metallic paints because of the metal flake that's in the paint. And like always, it's better to over-thin and apply 2 coats than to not be thin enough and not get the effect you were looking for, right? Too much opacity can ruin certain effects if you were glazing, whereas not enough opacity is easy to deal with. You can just put another layer on and build it up. So, easy. And just like you would with all the others, just barely any dampness on the brush, and then we're going to go in here and paint it on. Aggressive with the fluid, just like we were in the base coat stages. All right, so we've got the gold done, and now I want to do the little nails on his back in more of a silver. So we'll use dark silver, mix it the same exact way. You're starting to see that repetition is key. With one step, the consistency is perfect every time. Just get used to mixing your colors, and the sky's the limit on what you can come up with. Same thing, I'm going to have to be a little bit more careful just because the size of these nails is so small. And they run right up to the skin, so not quite as much fluid on the brush as I did with the other stuff. So treating it more like a traditional paint, but getting to make sure that we still maintain that white-black contrast balance from the underpainting is the key here. So we've gotten a really good foundation of color on the entire model. We just need that little bitty gem on his forehead. So let's not leave out a little bit of blue. So we'll take one step blue. I'm not even going to bother with the cup. I just need a little bit on the palette. And even in a small detail area like that, don't be afraid of it. You're not going to glom it on, but you're still going to get a lot of intensity of color just by dabbing a little bit on that area. So this really shows the power of the special sauce, being able to add it in. We added it in with the transparents to just give the hint of purple in the shadows on the sash. We moved to adding it in to get colors that don't exist in the one-step line, the dark golden brown on the skulls, the black brown on the staff. And then showing you the power of mixing it with the metallics so that you can get a really, really good, bright, vibrant coverage with metallics that also adopts your shading. So all of the pre-highlight doesn't go away like it would with normal metallics because you basically turn them into the same one-step strength, and they look great.